Alright, this thing's back. I'm thinking I'm gonna chain everything I did to this into like one video. If not, then this is like the worst intro to any video. So he brought this back because he wants some whip lights installed on it. So we're gonna do whip lights, and he doesn't like that. He said, can you just blast that with some paint, make it look good? So we're gonna rattle can it. We're gonna paint this. Yeah, he wanted this yellow as well. And then we have like this cargo box that used to be on here. He said whenever he bought it, and it was like bolted from the underside or something, and he cut the bolts off. So we're gonna peel this layer off and remount that. The girlfriend wants that remounted. I guess the highlight probably of this repair is gonna be this. When he dropped it off, I said, you got like your brakes leaking or something? He said, no, I don't think so. And I went and pushed on it and made a little puddle. So we got something going on with the back brakes, and that's what we're going to do first to get things ordered. Just pull this wheel off and check that out. Can you spot the problem? Yeah, it's not going to focus very good. Pretty sure this is the inner brake pad, and the piston is on the rotor, but the rotor's not tore up too bad, so I don't think it's been like that for long. Like I can see a little bit of where it shaved it off. Alright, let's pull this off and take a look at what's going on. This thing's a little stuck on here. It does not want to walk off very good. Yikes. Okay. So how did that even happen? Did it break off the ear? Isn't there supposed to be like an ear for the second pin? And there's signs of a this caliper, this piston is seized up. Yeah, look at that, chewed that up a little bit. Yeah, so it's like a split pin on this pin with an R-clip retainer. I feel like I'd have trust issues over that. So these pads aren't even that bad. Okay, well, so let me show you what happened now. And I was wrong. This is not the style that has like two holes. You can see this one's bent a little bit. So this one is the one that fell out. It's bent a little bit. It's got a chunk of pad missing right here. But here's what happened. This pad is supposed to go like this basically. And it fits in that little clip right there. Like that little notch. Okay, and so when it's in that notch, it relies on these guide pins to actually be movable and not seized. That one right here too. So I think I should probably be able to pull this out. This one moved a little bit. There we go. Oh, is that ripped? Which would explain why it was seized. So this plate got seized up and didn't float with the pads. And as the pads wore just a little bit, this pushed in and pushed the pad out of that notch. which is a pretty shit design in my opinion, because you know these brake components on four-wheelers have been around for 30 years, and the old school tried and true design, you just have 2 pins run through, and then you have 2 holes like this that hold them in place, and there's this can't happen whenever it's like that. So I don't understand the benefit of this. Like, why would you try to reinvent the wheel to create a design that potentially can cause your brakes to fail? That doesn't make any sense. So what we're going to do, let's try to pull this out the rest of the way. Just like that. That's where it needs to be, thrown on the ground. I don't see remnants of a boot anywhere. I'll need to look up what these boots look like to determine if I think a piece is missing. Or is it just like folded in, and it's been folded in for so long that it's formed that way now? Because it feels okay. Oh, there's a tear. Yep, that'll do it. So that one's trash. One's trash, then they're all trash because the kit's going to come with all of them. This is still on. Yeah, we need to pull this one out from the other side. Yep, that one's tore too. So that would explain it. It seized up that guide plate. Alright, so what we need to do now is, I suspect that this piston is seized up because this was the only one coming out. You would think once a little bit of pressure was applied that then this one would be free-flowing, but it did not do that. So what we need to do is lock this one in place and then push on the brake and try to get this one to move out. Alright, I got that one held. I'm going to push this brake pedal. Let's see if that other one moves. Okay. Alright. Well, I mean, that moved super easy. I didn't push on it very hard at all. It definitely favors the other one, though. Alright, here's what we're going to do. Let's crack this bleeder and let this drain out. And then we're gonna take these pistons out and see if I can save the other one and see if the seals are bad. This bleeder's totally clogged. No. What? Okay. Let's see if we can just unscrew this and let it just drop right into the bucket. Yeah, I'd say it was turned into the air brake conversion. There wasn't much fluid left. Alright, put the bleeder back in, and I got a brake pad right here, and well, that's dripping some nasty stuff out, and we're just going to blast air into here. Put this like this so I don't get blasted with brake fluid. Alright, that sounded like both of them popped out a little bit. They did. So then let's take this out, and now let's be a little bit more controlled with it. Alright, one of them popped out. And let's try to wiggle out the other one. It's not gonna play nice, is it? moved. There we go. You don't want to grab that with pliers. That'd be bad. This is just a giant pry bar. These look really good. So now, let's see. Oh, that's too much. No, we aren't doing any Billy Bob stuff like that. If it was just like, I don't know, maybe like 1/8 of an inch, I was gonna just reuse it, but that's too much. That's too much. Wow. So it's been like that a long time. Okay, so I guess we're gonna hunt for a piston. I feel like they're aluminum, and we're gonna get a rebuild kit. I mean, we might as well. We're gonna just go ahead and like get these seals and stuff, even though they look good. These being aluminum explains why the rotor wasn't all tore up. So to rebuild the old caliper would have been like $110, and we would have had to order 3 separate things. Basically, you order the piston seals, these boots come as a kit, and then the pistons themselves were a separate purchase, and then the brake pads were a separate purchase. So that was 110, 120 or something. This is a Caltric caliper, and this was a hair under $40 for the whole thing. So what we're going to do is pull this off though, and just make sure that there's actually proper brake grease inside these boots and pins instead of just some random stuff. It seems kind of runny. It does smell like brake grease. Brake grease has a different smell, but that seems like really watery. So I'm going to get some Q-tips down in there and clean that out. And we'll put our good green stuff in there. This one literally had like nothing. Like what's on here, that's it. There's nothing in there. So good thing we checked that. Yeah, this is what I was talking about, it being runny. Like it should be like literally like a grease. Let's see if I can do this one-handed, left-handed. I want to hit this with the orbital sander, mainly this side. This side's looking a little rough, and spray it down. But it's in full-wheel drive. I got it jacked up, but it's in full-wheel drive, and I can't get it out of full-wheel drive unless I assume I have to move it. And I can't really move it. I got it pinned in right now. So we're pulling off the hub. We're just going to pull the hub off. It's just one cotter pin, one nut. I don't think that was on there very good. There's a smell coming out of there. It smells like burnt. Oh man, I got grease on my floor. So they have these double stacked on here. I assume to shim it out far enough to get the cotter pin in, because it's probably the wrong castle nut with the aftermarket axles. Check this out. See that mark right there? It's actually where the pad was sitting. Flip it over. That's where a sideways pad was sitting. Look at that. Crazy. That was supposed to be 155 to 161, which we definitely got within that range. All right, this banjo bolt's supposed to be 18 to 25, I think. I got this at 20. It feels like nothing. Yeah, there we go. So probably 25. All right, got some Teflon around this bleeder. That way, when I start sucking, we're not getting any air. Hopefully we don't need to suck. Just let it drip. But I'm just going to run this in by finger, because if I tighten this down and back it off, then the Teflon seal is going to be gone. Come on now. Alright, I wasn't wanting to gravity bleed on its own, so let's give it a little help. That's the leftover dirty stuff that was in that line. Okay, I think that's good enough to where I can at least get this wheel on and get it out of this boxed in area to where I don't have anywhere to work. Alright, so deep down in there, don't look deep down in there, but there's not much room. We got a bleeder valve that I'm pretty sure is for like the proportioning valve for the front brakes. So even though it's on the rear master cylinder, you bleed that first when you start bleeding the front brakes, and it doesn't have any effect on the back brakes. We might revisit that. But right here is our hinge point, and I'm pretty sure right there is a rock that's jammed way down in there. If I can, that's not even, is it going to focus? So it basically gets stuck right there, and then you have to lift it up manually. Alright, I got this nut loosened right now. I don't know if it's going to bind again when it's tight, but it's returning, so we're going to use this opportunity to bleed the brakes. And since I don't have any help, this is how you do it with one person. You put that son of a gun on there, and then you walk back here. You got this primed up. And then let's see if we get any bubbles. Couple little babies. And then you just repeat that. feeling pretty good, honestly. I feel like it should, like, that's like free play. I'm thinking we might need to like adjust something. There's usually an adjuster on them. And just get rid of that. This is the actual master cylinder, like plunger free play, which I'd like to get rid of that, but I don't think that's air because it's getting tight. We definitely have brakes. All right, I got that nut broke loose, but the bolt is actually like seized in there. It moves like a quarter of a turn, then it just gets locked. So unfortunately, we're going to pull this off to inspect that and to free that up, because I'm not just going to slap a caliper on here to fix his back brakes whenever all they're going to do is drag. So we're going to need to address all those things. And while I was looking up underneath here, because I was looking for like a rod or an adjuster on the end of this to get rid of that slop, because a lot of times they have like a little rod with like a jam nut on it, to where that's what that's for. Couldn't really see it, so I'll be able to get better access to that. But when I was underneath this thing, I happened to notice something. For one, notice this big old oil leak. It's not making drops on my floor, but doesn't look the best. I'm not really sure where it's coming from, but I noticed this. So I'm pretty sure that's supposed to have one of them little booties on it that you just pull off and, dump or whatever. Then we got this just missing, and then we got this. So look at that. Like somebody put that on there and pinched it. So basically this box is not sealed, and this clutch is probably full of mud. So I think we're gonna pull this cover off of here and inspect that later in the video. That was actually way more work than it should have been. Had a couple of these, couple spinners. Okay, well now, and I can see up in here that it does not have an adjuster. Yeah, I was not going to get that out very easily with a hand tool, that's for sure. That would be what's doing it. So this is the slot, basically. It looks like it's worn. I think what we should do is put a dot of weld on this right here and bring that back up. We got rid of the slop. And went ahead and finished bleeding it, so we got good pressure right about there. And I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to try to do this in a way where I don't knock that spring out of there. If you ever take one of these apart, do it very slow. Don't just yank it out like I did, because that spring is a horrible, horrible design. painted this or greased it or anything. Yeah, the spring in here. If you unhook that from the bottom, you will want to punch that person in the face, whoever designed that. Because there's a hole. Right? It's blocked off from the bottom. You can't get to it from the bottom. It's basically like a tab that's bent down 90 degrees with a hole in it that you got to loop that around up in there. So here is my beautiful weld with no porosity at all. So we'll just hit it with some brake cleaner, hit it with some paint. And then this actually had O-rings in it. Check that out. And then we'll pack grease in there. Oh, I can see some threads. Alright, we're going to drill it from the back side. This is a 15/64. It fits in here just perfect and doesn't hit the threads. So we got it. Let's see if it still feels like it's good threads. Yep. Saved it. Saved a 14-cent piece of aluminum. We only used about $3 in electricity to do it. Hey, but it only did take 10 minutes, as would have the drive to the store to get another one, assuming we could even get another one locally. Alright, got the plastic peeled back. I saw this one a long time ago. I don't think those are meant to come all the way out. How much you want to bet these are way over tightened? Well, that's a good start. Lovely. Wow. Oh boy, here comes a can of worms. That one's missing. Oh, you didn't know there was another spot? Yeah, whoever put this on said, F whoever buys this. So this one's stuck, and what's happening is this insert is spinning. So that's like a pressed insert. Oh, garbage design. Same dude that ran that rear brake spring designed that. So basically, all of these are spinning. That's why this one won't come out, as it's pulling the insert out with it, and it can't fit through this hole. Well, it's kind of fitting through the hole. And most likely what that means is that this got really hot, and it probably got really hot because you know, the seal's just mashed in there. It doesn't have the drain cover on it, and it got full of mud, and then it, you know, made a lot of heat. And or whenever somebody put this thing together and paid no attention to the seal squishing up, they just ran, like impacted these on until basically it spun them out. And like once they broke loose once, then obviously you get a bunch of dirt and stuff on them. They're never gonna break loose. So now we get to figure out how to get them out. Okay, so basically, from what information I gathered, is when this happens, you're just effed. And one of the tricks is to stick it on a drill, not an impact, and just spin it until the RPM starts changing and it's like freewheeling. And that means that the plastic has melted around that insert in the back, and then you let it cool off, and maybe it's like grabbed enough to where you can get it out. Or, which this next part doesn't really help us a whole lot, is you spin it until it melts and then you pull it off. But we have so many that like there's really no way to like pry on it. There's no way to get all of them hot simultaneously and pry this off. So let's try this method first here. My drill don't like that at all. Oh, there we go. Okay, so then I guess we're going to let that one sit, and then we'll try, we'll just do this to these other ones, and then we'll come back to that one and see. Alright, it's been probably 30 minutes. There's a 50% chance this will work. Oh hell, that ain't working at all. Oh, this one's kind of tight. Nope. It's got a real ribbed feeling. Can we get lucky with just one? How about we just stick this on here and just get violent with it real fast, and maybe it'll pop loose. Nope. Oh, for frick's sake. Now we got the Chinese 6 amp hour battery. Nothing can hold us back now. Oh, for frick's sake. But what I need is like a pry bar that's got a V in it to where I can pry this out. If I can just get back behind this, get this spinning, melted, and then get back behind this and pry. guess that's what we're doing. Alright, well, we made progress. So now I just have to figure out how to get down in here and then the one on the bottom. And then I guess we're going to be taking a peek inside there. So this very last one actually broke loose. So that trick did kind of work. It worked 1 out of 5 times. How bad do you think it's going to be? I mean, not good, but I've seen worse. What's crazy is that this seal feels good. Like, it feels good. So, like, how hard is it to just put this in this little groove and put this thing on? Like, what even happened? Why would they do that? What a stupid design. Absolutely stupid. So we can just get some vice grips on these. Break them free. Yeah. It was definitely sucking in mud. This is what I thought. That's what I thought it was, and that's what it is. Oh, there's our leak. Oh, heavens. Yikes. That's the valve cover. Oh, I can't get my finger in there. But yeah, you can see how clean it is right there. That's for sure where it's leaking. I wonder if we can... Oh, man, we can't get up in there just to tighten it. Yeah, we'll worry about that afterwards. This is about to be a new problem. That's not rubber anymore. So yeah, this is stock. It's crazy that with these giant tires and stuff that this is stock clutch. Say it's time for a new belt. You can definitely see. I don't know if that shows up good. It's definitely been slipping and eating away at it. It's all these little rubber granules. Huh. Well, I assume that's rust. That like rusted real bad, and then the belt polished it off. Ooh, the backside of this belt feels terrible. It feels like it's like curved in like that. Check out this mess. So all of this is that in a nutshell. Pretty cool. And it's got this app too. And it's got a thing for music, which we're not going to do. We're not going to try to get a copyright strike because the YouTube algorithm heard. So I assume you hook your phone to like an amp and speaker, and then also to this, and then it does kind of dance around a little bit with the music. So what we need to do is turn this mess into like actual wiring on the machine. And this is my little cheat sheet, basically, of what I need to do. So we've actually T-tapped this. I would have rather like soldered it, but I'd already made this connection. So we just T-tap this. We'll spray it with some liquid tape. And we know that the T-tap goes to the empty switch. Yellow, this is all from relay. Yellow wire goes to switch red, so it ends up here. White on this is ground. Black is power, white's ground. And then red goes to this baby light wire right here. And that's really all we need to know. The rest of it's just grounds. So we'll guard this and then transfer all of this stuff over to the machine and start wiring it in. Alright, we are mostly wired up, so this is kind of where this is going to just be chilling at. I just stacked this relay on this one. There's already a relay in here. Maybe you're wondering, why didn't I tap into the old relay? Well, there's two different things here. There's this fuse and this fuse, and one's got a 20 and one's got a 30, and that's a 40 amp relay. And I'm not 100% sure. I didn't worry about fishing it out because I didn't care. I don't know which one's which. I know one relay is this light bar. And it's wired to a relay, so you can hear it clicking back here. And I'm pretty sure it's this relay up underneath this other one that I just put in. So they're basically maxed out. That relay's maxed out, whatever it's controlling. Whether it's the 30 amp fuse or the 20 amp fuse. Yeah, the 30 amp fuse I think is in here, and this wire is not 12 gauge, so I don't know why it's a 20 amp or a 30 amp fuse anyway. But besides the point, we're basically start from scratch. That way we know what we're doing and we don't have to worry about what someone else did. That'll be a different problem for a different day. So it came along up here, and none of these bolts are body ground. It's all plastic and stuff. But whoever wired in this light bar had already found a ground from somewhere. I assume they ran it back there from the battery. So we just T-tapped into their ground, and that's going to be our ground. And now the most difficult part of this entire job is, do we mount this switch next to this switch, or mount it at the angle? Do we follow this curve, or do we follow like this line? Which line do we follow? So over here we have one, but we can't fit that over there because there's a ductwork for the snorkel. We can't fit it right here because it's got that weird little thing in there, which, I mean, maybe I could like cut that out, and then if we put it behind here, then it hits right here. So like nothing's gonna fit over there comfortably. So I was thinking right here, and I told the owner, I said, what do you think? I sent him 2 pictures, kind of like this. I was like, what do you think, like this or like this? And you know what he told me? You know what kind of weight he put on my shoulders? He said, I trust you. You decide. Why would he do that? So now he wants to put pressure on me like that. I think what I'm going to do is the third option that I didn't mention is, let's pull this switch out. Let's put this one here next to that line, and then we'll center this to wherever this mounts up. I'm going to try to like because that's offset up. We're going to try to center it, and hopefully we can reuse this hole and then recenter it and probably put this switch right here. But we have a little surprise. A special guest has paid us a visit. Who do you think it might be? Oh, the orange RTV Bandit has made a special appearance, folks. Look at that. He must have been sick that day. He only used half of a tube on that little button switch. That's crazy. He must have been running a little fever. So I'm going to un-RTV Bandit the switch and then turn this into a square. Mount this, get a center point for this, and then figure out why that's RTV'd in and maybe not RTV it in this time. If only the orange RTV Bandit had just bought a Dremel instead of orange RTV, then he could have just put it in there like that. Imagine that. But the orange RTV Bandit cannot control himself. All he knows how to do is buy and use orange RTV. He is a product of his own environment. The system has made him this way. He cannot help himself. So something I was asked to do was rattle can these plastics. But since I have them off, I want to prep them a little bit. You can see on the back, somebody's painted it blue at one time. So the original color is yellow, but on this side, it seems like it was maybe painted white, like it had a decal, and it's also been painted yellow. So I sanded on this a little bit, but you can see where I've stopped right here. And I don't know, yeah, look how rough that is. Like, that's like wire wheel. It's like they hit it with a wire wheel and used a paintbrush to just make as many lines as possible and as many drips as possible. I didn't even see how bad that was down here. So I'm just trying to get a somewhat smooth surface. I don't know what this is, maybe like 150. I had the number 4 off of it. It's already used. And yeah, I guess just make it better than it was. Alright, we got those prepped. And he had tested what yellow would look like on the side of this, and he said, nope, too much yellow. Paint it back black for me. He did say he wanted this yellow, the metal parts of the bumper, which I feel like I should be doing right now, but I'm just wore out. I'm ready to just go upstairs and rest. So we're going to do that later. We got to figure out how we're mounting these light bars too. I'm not buying them cheap Chinese aluminum ones. We got this draped off up here. Got some like access panels or access holes for hitting the yellow, freshening up the yellow. So I'd already cleaned that emblem off. It had a bunch of overspray on it, and then we'll avoid the emblem, freshen that up. Yellow here, and then somebody had already oversprayed yellow on this. We'll come back around and touch up the black and just try to make it look better. This is why we are painting indoors. It's not good weather for gardening, or tennis, or golf. Wednesday's fair, 44 degrees, okay. I guess it's fair that you can have an opinion. And here, though, it feels rather nice. Alright, here's my plan. These are loose, So we knew that this thing had some rattles. I zip tied it up for him last time it was here. But so we got like loose bolts, loose brackets, rattles. I'm thinking I'm going to take all this off. I think I have to take it off anyway because these are just like free spinning. So I think they got nylon lockers on the back side of here. And I wanted to put tape like underneath this to keep it from rattling, which I'd have to take that off anyway. But I'm thinking to align this properly, because if you don't get this bolted down square with the holes for the frame, right? So that looks like an oval. But where it comes through is not an oval. Well, maybe it is a little bit, but it's not this much of an oval. So, I mean, you got to get that close to right. So we'll get it in skeleton mode, and then red Loctite these, bolt these down, and then tape this, bolt these back down, and then do something better than what they did to mount this box. And what I'm thinking is we're going to try to get a fender washer in here as big as possible to fill up like this area. So definitely, you know, bigger than that. We'll just like why is this so thick but so small, right? I know I just hurt someone's feelings. And then this one didn't have anything at all. You know how I thought there'd be a nut on the back side? Probably is. It's just spinning. Let me see what's going on in there. Nope. Oh, hey, I'm an engineer that designed a rack for a Can-Am, and I can't figure out why people keep wanting to punch me in the throat. Alright, let's find out if I'm going to turn the camera off and say a bunch of cuss words, or get this thing out of here. F you! Let's take a look at these stupid things. Let's take a look at some engineer in California's wet dream. Look at this stupid thing. So that's just an insert. Okay, so we had the one that had the broken barrel, and I just got done being really mean to these other three. Like this. So if they can hold that, that's way more torque than that M6 is probably rated for. I mean, it's just a 1/4 inch, but it's probably still like 20 foot-pounds when these M6s are, stuff's usually rated for like 7. So since the other three are good, let's just patch the one, the problem child. Here's what the problem child looks like. Hollow on the inside. I know a couple people like that. Alright, let's see if this works. I think it's going to work pretty good, actually. Because we got aluminum here. That's steel in here. But we got aluminum here. We got a nylon locker. I'm just going to set this in here how it's supposed to go. Put this on here real quick. Did it flip? Oh yeah, it's doing stupid stuff. Okay, so I got it past the bolt hole, and then cling to the top. Oh my god, it's being stupid. Okay, we're gonna fish it down here anyway. It's just like doing somersaults instead of just sucking to the magnet flat. Like some California engineer doing somersaults through a field of sunflowers and rainbows. Hey, yo, John, check this out. And then I'm going to make it so they got to use an open-end wrench to get in there and only get like a quarter and a half a turn at a time. All right, we got the tape applied. Just flip it over and squish it in. This is how I ended up installing it. I bought some like flat steel brackets. Thinking that I was going to do like something like this, but I feel like it's just unnecessary. It actually had 3 bolts on each side, so we got 6 bolts total spread out evenly. So that's how it's going to go back on. Bow! Think that's tall enough? It's got the quick connect, luckily. So let me show you what this is all about. So this is Harbor Freight, and I was thinking I was going to have to make some because the ones I saw online that looked thick like this, they wanted like 50, 70, 90 bucks for them. And I'm just like, that's just silly. That is absolutely just nonsense. These were just a hair under 10 bucks at Harbor Freight. They don't fit, but we can make them fit. It says it fits 1.5, 1.75, and 2. And I think this is probably 1.25 because this is too much space, like the screws won't screw in. This, when the screws are bottomed out, it doesn't get tight. And then this, of course, is, you know, even worse. It won't get tight at all. And then if you mix like one of these plus one of these, it's still like too big. So instead of like trying to like bore this out, we're just going to shim this middle one up. That's what I did on this other side. So then all we're going to do is take these pieces of some kind of rubber matting and just put them in there like so and stick it on there. That's it. Alright, we got this on. That doesn't fit. So now we need to do this. This came with these little like foam double-sided tape strips. It's possible that that's what that was meant for, is to shim that. I don't know, I didn't read the instructions. Alright, I think I got the wiring sorted. So we can tap in right here. We're just going to T-tap on this ground, and then we're just going to heat shrink this, I guess. Or not heat shrink, do like one of them crimpless solders. And they already had wire ran here and here that's been there a while, and it doesn't hit right here, so we'll form this to here. We just ran this up to here. This still works. This still opens. I've got the little module tucked down in here. There's a little cubby for it. And they already had wires ran right here under this rack, so I'm thinking maybe we can just lay these right here. And then we'll come out here to where we can hook up like this. And then we have these wires are turn signal and brake light and something else. So we're just going to put a piece of heat shrink over these, keep them safe since we're not using them. Well, that didn't work too good, did it? What's that all about? Electrical tape. It's like heat shrink, but for men. We're not trying to waterproof these or anything. We're just trying to keep them from getting like ripped apart or something. I don't know if he'll ever want to hook the brake light thing up. I think he just wants it to blink and do whip light things. Jesus Christ, this thing's full. Hey! Hey! This thing is ridiculous. This is like, I bet you this is like 5'7" or so. It's insane. Yeah, that's only about 8 feet tall. No big deal. No big deal. Nothing to see here. Let's make sure our backup lights still work. What's left of them anyway. Somebody thought that brake cleaner, I guess, would clean the plastic lens. Neato. Fancy. Alright, I did a slight modification. So these things are not really that secure in my opinion. Like, I know they're supposed to whip, but they're not supposed to snap off at the quick connect, which is, I feel like, what will happen eventually. Because, I mean, you're relying on this little thin aluminum coupler here to basically take this load. So what I did is drilled 2 holes here in this box and then zip tied this to where it's solid now. And for me, I can't get this thing out of my garage, so I need to disconnect these. But that was just kind of a little test here to make sure that it would work. And it does do something, so that's what I'm going to tell him he needs to do just to ensure that these don't rip themselves apart. because they are not designed the best. That was not even that tight. Which makes me even more mad about this stupid design. I wonder what happened here. Probably had a clutch explode. Probably didn't put the thing on right, left the drain off, went mudding with the thing, got the clutch ruined, the clutch blew up, took it apart, mad about it. This thing's a piece of junk. All I did was ever take care of it. And you know what? I'm just gonna put some clutches on it, and I'm just gonna sell it. And clack, 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 and just strip out all these. Seems like a plausible story, right? Got about 1 psi in here. It's sealed. Well, I can see why they didn't replace that, because man, that was hard. Just to be clear, the current owner didn't do any of this. He bought this thing last year, and as far as I know, I've done all the work to it. And I've recorded all the work I've done to it, so this is all new to me and him. I got one minor problem right here. This was the one that I followed the internet's advice on and just spun it and let it cool, and then this one actually broke loose. The problem is it pulled out a little bit, and what that means is that it won't let this gasket seal down here whenever it goes to tighten up. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and spin this one out. And then all the ones that are spun out, they all have a lip. So I need to get a razor blade in here and shave this lip off. But yeah, the owner said to just basically just throw this thing back together. This back side is ruined on this belt. And then we got rust on the sheave. The sheave is steel. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if that's common or uncommon. I stuck a magnet to it. It's definitely steel. But when I went looking stuff up, I just kept finding like aluminum sheaves on these things. So we're gonna dig into this. He wants to ride it out for the summer. I told him just take like an 8mm with him, and then the M8 125 to compress the secondary, and just buy an extra belt and throw it in the back. That way, if he snaps a belt on the trail, he can do it on the side of the trail if he needs to. I'm pretty sure you can pull this off. You might have to snip a zip tie that he's got right here for the plastic and like pull the side cover off, but it can be done on the trail. So that's what I'm going to do in case I don't do a follow-up. We got cracked boots everywhere that need to be replaced. Alright, here's what we're using to fix this insert problem. Home Depot's. So I got one in here and it worked perfectly. Just take this and put this on a magnet like that, and then kind of hold this back in here and gently get this pushed through first because the plastic's like melted. Make sure it's wallered out enough to spin it by hand. that on there. This one I could have just probably did with my fingers. This one, because the way this goes down at an angle, I barely couldn't get my fingers in here. It felt like it was cutting them. Just run this in, and then we just use violence to draw it in. Right there. See that little gap right there? So I think that valve cover's warped. So this one with this like duct outlet, I guess, is a little bit tricky. So we had to make a custom one to fit that, which looks something like this. It's either going to work or it's close. Yeah, looks a little better now. If you ever get a seat cover, these guys are the way to go. Like, you don't have to really pull on it or anything. They really know what they're doing. Alright, the final thing. I don't have a fancy one like what's on there, but